Deluxe keyring. What I thought I'd do today's exercise is, I like this book, which is Des Pawson's Knotcraft book, and so what I thought I'd do is I would do one of the projects that he's got listed in this book here. If you want to know more about this book, I will put it in the description. I have done a book review on this before. I'll put that in the description below. And also check the description for other things, because there'll be other useful things that I will mention throughout the video that will also be listed in the description below. So today I'm going to do a deluxe keyring, which is in this book here. I can't just find the page at the moment, but I've done it before, and to be honest, it's a wonderful little keyring to make. Oh, there it is. Deluxe keyring. So that's what we're going to make, and basically it's a mini bell rope as well. And what I will do is I will go through the process of making this, and you can follow along, and hopefully I get it right so that you get it right, and at the end we will have ourselves a lovely decorative deluxe keyring. So what I'll do is I'll just prepare the materials and then come back to you on that one. Okay, what I've done is I have cut myself 3 strands, and in this particular case I've used 3 strands of 3mm paracord. You don't have to use 3mm, I've just chosen it, and I've used 3mm, and this is Desert Camo paracord. Personally, I do like this particular paracord, or colour should I say, because the Desert Camo actually does look like gold. It's got a nice glossy sheen to it, and when you produce something it really does look like gold when it's finished, a gold cord, and it just looks smart. And what I've done is I've taken 3 lengths of this, and all 3 lengths are 3 foot long in length. So 3 foot long, and what I've done is I've centered it, and so let's see, centered it like so, and then where I've centered it, also here at this point here, I have tied a constrictor knot. And I haven't shown you the constrictor knot, but the constrictor knot is a knot you're going to use all the time, so you might as well learn it. I have got a separate video on the constrictor knot, and I will put that in my description below for you to just learn the constrictor knot. So what I've done is I've taken my cord, I've centered it, and off to one side here I have put a constrictor knot in, because what we're going to do with this remaining piece here, just this little piece here, is we're going to form a loop of our keyring. So in other words, our metal, I can't remember what they're called now, keyring. Anyway, the metal keyring bit will go through that loop there, or you can put a carabiner through or something like that. Split ring, that was the word I was looking for, split ring. So I've done that, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plait it. And basically pretend it's your sister's, your girlfriend's hair, something like that, and plait it. And to plait, all you're basically doing is you are taking the left hand one, going over the centre one, taking the right hand one and going over the centre one, taking the left hand one, oh, get that out of the way, and going over the centre one. Take the right hand one, over the centre one. So you can see here now, let's just lay it out like this. All we're doing all the time is taking, so we've got our 3 strands here, we're taking the left hand one over the centre, so that it becomes the centre one. We're then taking the right hand one over the centre one, so that that becomes the centre, and then the left hand one over that one, so that that becomes the centre. But that's not very tight, but as I pull it up, it will tighten up. And I'll pull it up tight now, oops, like so, and we can see here now that a nice plait is forming. So I'll just keep doing that a little bit, forming a plait, and then once I've got enough distance in, what I will do is I will form the loop and then tie that off. Okay, so now if I bring that round, we now have a very small loop in our work, like so. So I can actually poke, for example, my pencil through there, and we have a loop. Okay, so we've actually plaited that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie that loop off like so. So as you can see, what I've done is I've plaited it. I've then locked it off with a constrictor knot here in the center, just at the center here. And so we've got a small loop here through which our keyring can pass for our key fob. What I'll also do is I'll put in the description below, I will also put where I got my paracord from, because it is a nice paracord to use. So if you want to get hold of some of that, I'll put that in the description as well. And also some other useful bits and tips and tricks. But don't forget, check out the constrictor knot. The constrictor knot, if you're going to get into knotting, is probably one of the most useful knots that you can use, because it's one of those knots that when you tie, it's easy to tie. When you tie it, it doesn't come undone. You know, it does eventually, but it takes a lot to get it undone. You often find that when you're doing some work, the constrictor knot is the hardest thing of all to undo in the end. But yeah, don't worry about it. Also, the other thing you'll notice is as you get more into decorative work, you do end up with these spiders' legs hanging about, but you get used to that as well, and you just push them out of the way as you are creating your knots. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a 3-strand diamond knot or crown and wall knot, which we're going to tie into pairs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort my cordage out into pairs, and it helps to get them nice and evenly in pairs, if you see what I mean. And so there we go. What I've done is I've paired those out. In fact, I'm not happy with that. Let's see, take that one there and then that one there. Just try and neaten it up, make sure they're all nice and neat and as close together as possible. Okay, so that's our knots or our cords in pairs. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie a crown knot. And to tie a crown knot is very simple. We basically, and we're doing this in pairs, so it makes it slightly harder than a normal crown knot. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take these 2 leads here and pass them over these 2 leads here. So there we go. Take those 2 over. Try not to tangle them up or let them cross. So we've passed those 2 over there. We then take these 2 and pass them over the next 2. So these 2 are going over those 2 and then over those 2. So we then go over those 2 like so. And then the final leads, they are going to go over, let's see, let's try and point this out. That's gone over that one and over those 2. So it's gone over those 2, over those 2. And then finally, these 2 here are going to go over these 2 here and through that loop there. So what I'll do is that just slipped, which I didn't really want to do, but we're still doing exactly the same. Keep it up, and I'm going to pass these over those 2 there and then through the loop. So here we go, over and through the loop, and there we go. And basically, if I pull that up a little bit, you can see now here that what we've done here is we have created a crown knot. So that is a crown knot here, and if we were to pull that up tight, it's a nice decorative knot on its own. So that's our crown knot. Just make sure your cords are all square all the way around. Just sort this one out. They've become crossed over a little, and there we go. Okay, so that is the crown knot. Got a crown knot tied here like this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the whole thing over like so. Just makes it a little bit easier to show you as well. And that's what it looks like from the underside. Having done that, next thing I'm going to do is we're going to tie a wall knot. And basically a wall knot is a crown knot but upside down. So we've done a crown knot and we're going to tie a wall knot. And so the next thing I'm going to do is take these 2 cords here and pass them over the next 2. then these two here are going to pass over those two and then over the next ones there. Don't worry too much about your spider's legs there, and just uncross them where they're crossing over. That's like so. And then finally, these two leads here are going to go over this one and through the loop, exactly the same as we did previously. And if you're having problems with crowning, check out my videos. I've got one video just on crowning. And so there we go. We've now, if I now pull these through and tighten up a bit, we get a similar shape to what we had previously. And just keep them untangled, let the cords run alongside each other, that's it. Okay, and you can see here now that as I pull that up, we are starting to get a rather decorative looking knot appearing. And so that's going to be our diamond knot. So as you can see here in there, I've got my crown knot at the top here. I've got the wool knot that we created at the bottom here. And the next thing I'm going to do is, through the center of our top walnut, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass these leads through so they all come through the center of our top wall knot. So just pass them up through. So straight line up, pass them through, bring them through. And that's the first one's done. Just check the cords aren't crossing over. That's it. Then we take the next two to the left of that, and basically that's where the cords are coming through now. So we're going to come up through the middle like so. So once again, get hold of the cords and poke them up through the middle like so. Let's see, try and keep my fingers out of the way so you can see what I'm doing, but all I'm basically doing is coming up through the middle. So that's the next set, have come up through the middle. Whoops. Next set, come up through the middle. And then we have the final set here. So that's the final set there. They're not doing anything at the moment, and they've got to come up in the middle here. So I'm just going to take those ends and pass them up like so. Gets a bit fiddlier as it gets crowded. No, looks like I've got to use my grip fid. So I'm going to put them in my grip fid, two at once, and then just pass through. If you haven't got a grip fid, use a scissors, a poking stick, anything that you've got to hand. And there we have it. We now have all our leads, and you can see here now, as I just gently pull up on that, let's get rid of those spider legs out of there. Gently pull up on that, get rid of that one as well. And you can see here now that as I gently pull up, we're getting a rather beautiful, symmetrical diamond knot appearing here. And I'm going to keep pulling that up. And the whole idea is I'm going to work the cords so that they're coming out of this one here. And gradually, by working it up in this direction, I'm going to push hard up against my constrictor knots here. And once I get close to them, I can cut my constrictor knots out and then take up any slack that's left behind on that. So I will go ahead, just keep gently teasing them up. And you can see here, the knot is keeping its shape. It's looking good. And pull them individually as well, just to make sure they're coming up nice and tight, like so. And there, you can see we've almost done it. Just needs to be a little bit tighter, it's a little bit soft to touch. Just tighten it up so that you get some good, clean, compressed knots, or a compressed knot at that point.